Daniel, how are you? Beautiful, beautiful. I don't want to bother you on New Year. I never heard from the. I never heard from the Federation. I never heard from the Federation. Curious if people heard already or not.
No. They said they're meeting in early January.
Okay, no problem. I just wanted to make sure that I just looking at the document. I said, "Oh, I didn't. Let me follow up. I didn't hear anything."
Yeah, they had one meeting before the Christmas break, and then the next one is after January.
Okay.
So it should be pretty quick actually. They should probably meet next week.
Okay, perfect.
I'll be on top of
it. No problem. I was just curious, what the story is. They usually like to, whatever. I thought this time they're going to give everybody money. I'm sure they're not going to be.
Working on your summer grants?
I'm going to start working next week.
Very good.
Yeah, I mean, the guy who did it for me, the people who did it for me in my office are not here anymore. This one's on sick leave, this one on that. So if I need any help, just as I go through, you're 100% shikach.
Very good.
Okay, guten Shabbos. Happy New Year. Okay, great. Bye-bye. Hello.
Hello, how are you? Happy New Year.
Everyone, how are you?
I'm good. I'm excited about the class.
Hey.
Yeah.
Happy New Year.
Oh, Happy New Year. How are you?
How are you?
Oh.
Hi.
We're back.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. I need some New Year enlightenment, Rabbi.
We're listen, even though it's not the Jewish New Year, where Jewish New Year has a lot of very deep meaning, and it represents a lot. This is just sort of a day chosen as the beginning of year, but still, every time there's something new, it's always very, very powerful, and there's a lot that we can draw from it. So, this is, I guess, what I guess we should try to do. So it's a good topic to talk about, going into New Year. What does new really mean, and how can we take advantage, of a newness? Are we waiting for anyone? Hello, everyone. Great to see you. Claudia, is anyone else signing in that we're waiting for? You're muted, Claudia. You're muted. I think everyone, you have to unmute yourself. Claudia, now
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you now.
Anyone else?
Okay, so I guess my earpods aren't working. No, so Moti can't log on. His Wi-Fi is too bad, and I think Debbie's flying back today from Whistler.
Okay, perfect.
The only person might be Sarah. I'll just send her a quick text.
Okay, that's fine.
Give me the letter. Give me the letter F. Good job. Why you need to do that down?
Okay.
Okay.
So I think we could start.
Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. So you said, like, cause today is New Year, let's talk a little bit about what new really means for ourselves. And actually, more than New Year, it's also, every Shabbat, we read another portion of the Torah. So this way, every year, from Simchas Torah, from the end of the holidays at the beginning of the year, to the following Simchas Torah, we complete the entire Torah. So every week it's filled with the messages from the Torah portion we read that week. And this week, there are 5 books in the Torah called the 5 books of Moses, the Pentateuch. So the 5 books, the first one we finished reading this week. So we finished reading the book of Genesis, or in Hebrew Bereshis, which talks about really the beginning of the world and the beginning of the Jewish people. And every time we finish a book, we finish in synagogue reading one of the books of the Torah, so the whole congregation says together 3 words, which are very powerful. And they are, in Hebrew, chazak, chazak, v'nis chazek, which means be strong, and be strengthened. So every time we complete something, it's very powerful, to complete. Many of us start, many people, not us necessarily, many people start many things. There are many people who have great inspiration, and they're going to start. And we all know that January 1st, everybody makes a resolution. Most of the people, they're going to sign up to a gym, and the other people are going to do whatever. And the gyms love it because February 1st, everyone is already out of there, and no one's the commitments never last more than a month for most people. So everyone's inspired at different times to do something new. And the inspiration is real. It's great. It's not it's not fake. It's for real. But somehow, from what we're inspired, the inertia that we have, that we're inspired, doesn't last very long. It quickly peters out. So when you complete something, it's very powerful. When you complete something, you start it. So, when you take a book and you don't know when you're going to read it, finally you complete it. Or you take a project and you complete it. Whatever it is, a child completes elementary school or high school. When we complete something, it's very, very powerful. And it's empowering as well. The fact that we're able to complete really is a new inertia to be able to start something new. What's very fascinating is everyone's enamored. We don't see them much anymore. The space shuttles, when they used to take off, everyone was got together, whether you're there locally, hundreds of thousands of people used to go out to watch, whether everyone on TV. If you ever watch a space shuttle taking off, it's, the shuttle itself is, it's pretty big, but all of the things surrounding it, the fuel, etc., and the launch pad is much, much larger than the space shuttle itself. And what happens is, why does the space shuttle need so much more, whatever they call the capsules or whatever of the fuel? So what's interesting is that most of the fuel that the space shuttle uses is right at the beginning at takeoff. Once the space shuttle goes up and gets out of the atmosphere, it uses very little fuel. So the hardest thing always is the initial startup. That's always where you need the most strength. So most people, they fizzle out at the startup point. They can't get it together to start up. But if you got it together to start up, the chances that you'll complete it become much greater. and then when you finish it, you really feel special because you finish something that you started. It's very, very powerful. So it's when we complete a book of the Torah, we completed, we read, we learned, we studied, we understood it a little bit deeper than maybe we did before. When you go through that process, you feel strengthened. So therefore we say the words chazak, be strong, be strong, be strengthened. So it's a week. This Shabbat tomorrow, we're going to, the Shabbat of Chazak, we finished 2020, which is a year many people would like to see behind them and maybe not remember it. Even though we have a very different viewpoint, nothing we like to forget. Everything is something that helps us grow. And we're going into finishing the book of Genesis. So it's a great moment to really put a lot of effort into trying to turn a page and a new start. So, by the way, this is a sort of a discussion. So any comments or questions along the way, don't wait till the end.
Okay, I have a question.
Yeah.
What is it in Hebrew? The be strong, be strengthened, it says?
Yeah, be strengthened. Be strong, be strong, be strengthened.
Okay.
Meaning, even when you're strong, you still got to be strengthened as well. But when 3 is a very powerful number. Anything that happens 3 times, it's sort of solidified. So never want to give strength to something and solidified, we say it 3 times. We do it 3 times.
Okay.
That's why we say those words. So I want to tell you a very fascinating discussion that once happened. So in the first years when the Lubavitch Rebbe, when the Rebbe became a Rebbe in 1950s, so it was a very critical time in the Jewish world because it was post the Holocaust, and an entire continent, meaning we know we lost 6 to 7 million Jews, men, women, and children, 1.5 million children in the Holocaust, entire cities, communities, countries, decimated. The Jewish people were decimated from 18 million to all of a sudden less than 12 million. It was a big, big blow, and really shook the core of the Jewish people. So it was a time when many people were able to sort of start a new life. Many people coming to America, to Canada, and to other Western countries, in South America, Australia, obviously many going to Israel. So it was a chance to start a new life and etc. But still, it was a lot of the beliefs of a lot of people were very shattered. And though they were starting anew, they became very disengaged from a lot of Jewish beliefs and observances. So the Rebbe became sort of the leader of Jewry at the time when it was heading downhill in terms of being a strong community. So what he did was, one of the first things he did was he was encouraging in the New York area where he lived especially, that they should bring students, high school students, college students to him to have discussions. Let them talk openly why they are, this not enamored with Judaism and with the beliefs and why they think it's archaic and to try to discuss with them in a very relevant way what it really means and how it's important today as much as ever, maybe more important. So anyways, in one of those, and they recorded fascinating discussions, everything was discussed from creation versus the evolution and many other issues, tragedy, hardships, and many practical things. So one of the discussions, the topic came up about mundane things, eating and sleeping. So he said like this, he asked the question, why is it, if you think about it, our bodies were made in a certain way. We have to eat. If we don't eat, we don't survive. So whether you have to eat 3 square meals or whether you can eat 1 meal a day, doesn't make a difference. You eat 6 meals a day, whatever it is you're doing, a human being must eat. If you don't eat, you can't survive.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you can say, oh, that's nature. That's just the way it is. But as a believer, you always don't say just the way it is. Why did God do it? There's a reason God made us have to eat to survive and to eat so much to survive. And not only that, but sort of we're reliant on food. It's in the back of our mind all the time. When is my next meal coming? right? So, and the Kabbalah and the Hasidic philosophy actually tackles this concept. I'll just tell you in short what it is because it's very fascinating.
Okay.
Why do we eat? Why did God make us that we have to eat? So the question goes even more. A human being relies on, what are we relying on to sustain us? So if human beings are the highest level of creation, right? We're the intellectuals, we're the people who can make free choices, we can understand things, we can manipulate, we can direct, redirect. Whatever nature exists, we have the ability to change. I remember when I took my kids, we went to, took them to on a trip out west, and we stopped in Las Vegas. We went to Hoover Dam, and you know the kids were like so shocked when they heard how they redirected a river, how one of the wildest rivers in the world, how humans redirected a river. It's incredible. You think about it. There's a nature, and we have the ability to change the direction of the nature. The power we have is incredible. So how is it that we who have so much power and are so much greater than everything else rely on our sustenance and our existence on things that are lower than us? We rely on the animal, whether we eat the meat or fowl, or birds. We rely on vegetation, fruits and vegetables, and the things that grow, grains that grow. We rely on the inanimate salts and sodiums and et cetera, et cetera. So why is it that for us to grow, we need to sustain ourselves from things that are lower than us? Usually when people grow, like mentally, if you want to grow, you got to talk to someone who's smarter than you. In any other way you want to grow, you got to go to someone who's greater than you. Why is it that we grow through things that are lower than us in the bigger, world that we live in? And in short, the answer is that though we are the highest level of anything that exists in the world, but our purpose is to bring meaning and purpose to everything in the world. And the way that has to happen is, especially for the things lower than us, is God forced us to engage in those things. So because we have to eat from animals, that animals, most of them eat grass and other types of things. And the grass relies on the soil and all the other nutrients. So for us to exist, we must rely on everything that's there in creation, from the lowest, the most inanimate, that have no real life to it, that we can see, to just vegetation that the life is very minimum, except that it grows from small to big. And then the animal, which is still lower than us, that intellectual capacity that we have. Because by interacting with all of those things, we are being involved in their success, in them being protected, in them growing properly, in making them more productive. So reality is that God made us that we must, on a regular basis, rely and connect to the lowest of the low, of things much lower than us, to help through our life having meaning, bring meaning and purpose to everything that exists, all of existence. So in reality, when we eat, this is our way of not taking from the world. It's our way of working with the world by helping, making everything purposeful and meaningful. That nothing is random. Nothing just exists. Oh, it exists. It's there. Everything is used. I remember when I was a kid, that was always so interesting when we used to read. I grew up in America. And and they taught about the Indians, how the Indians, everything, but when they killed an animal, every last part of that animal was used. They didn't throw anything away. Here, our world today, they kill an animal, they slaughter an animal, whatever they use, and half of it gets thrown in the garbage. They used everything. The bones they used for cutlery and plates, and all the veins they made into thread. Like everything was used for something. Nothing in our world is wasted. Everything that's put in our world has a purpose. Now, not everything is a purpose that we can use. Some things have a purpose in the bigger picture that we, not humans, will use, but they help other parts of 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 the world progress and be able to do its job. But everything that is here in this world has a purpose and a meaning. There's a creator, someone put it here, and it has a purpose and meaning. By us needing for existence to eat and constantly, it's not like once in a while we got to eat. We got to fill ourselves up with a little bit of food and water, but we have to make it a part of our day often. It means our involvement in the world and our involvement and our interaction and our bringing purpose and meaning to everything in the world is a constant. Don't mind if the baby makes noise. It's fine. We love noise of the babies.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what happened. My thing just disconnected.
Okay.
Sorry.
So that is why we eat. Now the question he brought up then is, why do we sleep? Why did it's a waste of time. Your kids, if you ever want to see, know what's what sort of the truth is or what's close to the truth, look at kids. Kids are pure and innocent. They haven't been trained to become cynical and negative and see the bad and everything. So kids hate sleep. Kids don't want to sleep, right? You have your kids. You remember your kids are young. I don't know what age your kids are. You have a baby. Kids don't like to sleep. There was a question, why do I have to go to bed? Again, why do I have to go to bed? Because in life, we should all not want to sleep. Why do we want to waste every day of our life, 6 to 8 hours or whatever it is, on sleep? It's like a waste of time, especially if you feel that there's so much you want to accomplish in the world. You feel like sleep is almost my enemy because I don't have enough time to do what I need to do. So why would God make us need to sleep? Yes, and we need to have energy. So why do you have to make sleep? He could have made us re-energized through other ways, right? We take a phone, we plug in. We could have had some kind of a plug-in or something that we can. God has many ways to do it. Why did he create sleep? And here the Rebbe said something very, very powerful. So imagine you had a bad day. Things didn't go well today. What happens on a regular basis? Things don't go well. You may go to sleep in a bad mood or, feeling crappy, etc. But then you wake up the next morning and it's like you're a new person. Whatever happened yesterday could remain yesterday. Not always. Many people, they try to bring yesterday's misery into today. But often when you wake up, it's like a new day. You have new energy. You have new spirit. There's like new thing. It's like you're waking up with a new person. But imagine if we didn't have sleep. If things were going sour or left or not in the right way, how would we ever be able to break out of our spiral, our downward spiral that we feel, and sort of break away and start new? It'd be very difficult, right? If someone has a bad day, it's very hard to change in midday, to change your mood and to change. It just usually gets from bad to worse. So God gave us the biggest gift every single day of our life. When we go to sleep, we're able to put yesterday to sleep. Doesn't mean what yesterday doesn't mean anything. What it means is that even if we messed up, even if we wasted a day, even if we did something wrong, even if something was done wrong to us, it doesn't have to weigh us down. You're able to move forward. You're able to get up the next morning and think it's a new day, I'm a new person, and start from scratch. And that's the most incredible gift we can get. Because the worst thing a person can do to themselves is to paint themselves into a corner that things are bad, only bad things happen to me, nothing good is going on, I am bad, or this one is bad. The worst thing we do is to paint ourselves into a corner and create a reality that most probably is not 100% true, but we create that reality, and whatever reality we create in our mind becomes our true reality.
Mm-hmm.
Our mind affects. So God gave us a gift that every day we can put ourselves to sleep, leave yesterday alone, and start a new day. Now, actually, in Judaism, it tells us there's a way to go to sleep as well, because often if you don't go to sleep in the right mood, when you wake up, you may feel like it's a new day, but you don't have all the energy. It's good to really close the day. So in Judaism, we say every night before we go to sleep, we say the prayer, the Shema Yisrael, the most famous Jewish prayer. Here is the Lord's our God, the Lord is one, and a little paragraph that follows. And some people say even a few more prayers, sort of to reflect on their day and to sort of say, if I messed up, I ask forgiveness from God or from whoever it is. And if something happened to me, I'm ready to forgive and move on. We sort of let go of yesterday, not to let it bring us down, because I think we mentioned already that the worldly natural soul or our evil inclination inside of us loves to grab on misery and to pin it to our lives and make us feel miserable all the time. Because when you're miserable, you have low expectations of yourself, right? When we're feeling bad, we don't think we can amount to anything. So you have low expectations, you don't motivate yourself. When you feel good, you motivate yourself. Yeah.
Sorry, can we repeat that? Because it's the first time I heard it and it just did a aha in my head.
Yeah.
What was that? When people feel bad about themselves, it's because they don't put it.
Misery is a choice for a lot of people, because when we choose to be miserable, we have low expectations for ourselves. Like if I feel miserable, I say, okay, so I kind of not, today is not worth anything anyways. So I don't have to get up and do anything. I'm not going to feel bad that I'm not doing anything. I'm not going to feel bad that I didn't do what I had to do today. So misery lowers the level of your life to the point that because you have low expectations, you have no interest in doing anything, and you feel good about it. You feel good about it. Not really. Inside, you're very confused, and it creates a lot of problems. But on the external level, it gives you a reason why you can stay in bed and not get out. It gives you a reason why you shouldn't go see friends, or why you shouldn't go do a favor for someone. Why you shouldn't just go out and do what you have to do, whatever you're doing. If you're a kid in school learning, or if you're out there working, or if you're whatever you're doing, or a mother or father doing their work, whatever you're doing, that misery helps you have the excuse of not to do it. And that's why misery comes from the natural worldly soul, the negative part of the natural worldly soul that creates more problems for us than good. So we cannot,
Yeah, sorry, I just want to. So is that why sometimes when you feel like a person's always looking at the negative, even though there's so much, you see the positive and you bring it up and they don't want to hear you? Is it because it's easier for some people to just, they like the feeling of thinking the bad, like the negative stuff, or this pity?
You know what they say? Many women prefer to stay in a miserable marriage than to break away and try to start anew. Not that I'm advocating every time there's a problem in marriage, run away. I think you have to really work hard to try and make it work. What I'm saying is, but people, even happens in the workplace, people stay in a miserable job. Why? Because it's more comfortable to stay in the misery than to push yourself and unleash yourself into the unknown, where you don't know what tomorrow will be. And even though it could be much better, but because it's unknown, you don't feel safe and secure, and therefore many people don't want to go there. So misery is something that people connect with. People feel it's good to feel miserable because I don't have to live up to anything. You know, if you wake up in the morning and you feel good, you question yourself, so what am I doing today? What am I going to accomplish today? That makes you work. That makes you have to, exert yourself. That makes you have to run. Yeah. But if you wake up in the morning and say, I feel so bad, so I feel like nothing today. I feel garbage. I'm not even talking about people who are depressed, God forbid, and people have mental health. I'm talking about people on a regular basis. Many of us, sometimes we feel miserable and we just don't want to do anything. And you know what? It's comfortable because at the end of the day, I'm not expecting anything of myself today. So I'll sit under my covers. I'll sleep under my covers all day. Big deal. So I missed the day. Who cares? I'm nothing anyways. I don't feel like I have any value today. I don't feel any. So God gave us sleep that every day we have the chance to begin new. Every day we have the chance to start a new day. You know, and in Judaism, though Judaism talks about repentance, like everything talks about repentance and fixing up your past, especially if you did things, you made mistakes or you did things wrong intentionally. But yet Judaism never focuses on the past. We always focus on the future, the now and the future. The way we fix the past is by being healthy and strong mentally and spiritually today. Not going back to the past to try to fix the past, because then you get stuck in that past and you can't ever pull yourself out of that mud. It's about today, doing the best you can today, being in the right mood, being in the right spirit, being in the right, sort of type of frame of mind. That's the best way to move forward. When you move forward, the past is lost. Any negative you did in the past, falls off the wagon. But if you stay held down by the past, and most of the time it's not necessarily our fault. We're human beings. We're not the perfect. We are not always. We weren't created like angels. We're not those perfect beings. I would never expect it to be perfect. We're gonna struggle all the time with different things. We just have to try our best. And when you just focus on now and future to try your best and do your best, all the negativity of the past just falls away, just slides off eventually. So newness, we're talking about this every day. Every day we wake up, it's like we have the chance to feel new. I can start new. Nothing's gonna hold me back. That's on a daily basis. So then, especially when we come to like a new year, even though it's the Gregorian calendar, especially for us Jews, we have another new year. Still, anytime there's a new, it's powerful. Anytime there's a new, it's a chance to sort of break away from what may be weighing us down, to want to move forward, to want to move ahead in our lives, and do the things that we always wished we can do, but we never felt that we're capable of or we're up to it. And this is the time when you feel new, is a time when you have that spirit, you have a lot of inertia to really, to jolt ahead. This is the power of something new. Problem is that most of us make the same mistake, and that is that when we want to start new, when we want to sort of have a new beginning, we make grandiose plans, we make grandiose goals that are unattainable. As much as you'd want to jump from here to the moon, it's not going to happen. It's impossible. But if you build a rocket ship and you put in all this, you go through all the steps, you put in all the pieces, it's possible. And people have done it. So very often when we want new, we create unreal expectations that really come from the same place as misery comes from. We have a part in us that doesn't want to succeed. Why is there a part in us that doesn't want to succeed? Who doesn't want to succeed? We all want to succeed. Because with success, meaning if we attain a goal, whether it's a goal in our personal physical life, whether it's in our spiritual, in our mental, in our career, in our family, bringing up our children, in our marriage, in our relationship, whatever it is, when we create goals that are real and that are, and we attain those goals, that means that we stepped up, and once we stepped up, our level of responsibility to ourselves becomes more. Meaning the more you grow, when you're in first grade in school, you have very little responsibility. When you're in fifth grade, you're a lot more responsible. So some kids don't want to ever get to fifth grade because they'd rather be less responsible, feel less that I have to carry, I don't want to do more. I'm happy where I am. I hear those words all the time. To me, my pet peeve, whenever I hear someone say, I'm happy where I am, unfortunately, many people, when it comes to the Judaism, they talk about, I'm happy where I am. I'm very comfortable where I am. Anyone who's comfortable where they are in anything, unless you're 120 years old and the day before you're dying, it's not a good place. We should never be comfortable where we are. We should always want to grow a little bit. We should always want to be better. If good, is better, not better.
Yeah.
It's always, it's always something that we should strive for, to be better. Better doesn't mean you have to be changed drastically. Better means I'm just moving forward. I'm keeping fresh. You have to, food got to be fresh or else it starts smelling. So too in life. if we want to stay fresh, we got to add a little bit every day. Then we're fresh. If we don't add anything to our lives, we become stale, and stale stinks. Stale rots away. Stale is not good. So we always have to, and therefore many people, they take upon themselves massive goals that they really know inside they'll never attain. Maybe in a dream they would love to attain it, but they don't really want to attain it because they don't want to accept the responsibility and the discipline that it's going to take to get to that goal. So they're hoping by magic, somehow, they're going to go to the gym one day and then they're going to be able to lift weights better than anyone else in the gym. I mean, it's not real. The only real way to grow, to start new, is to make small incremental goals. You may have a bigger picture. They say the road to Rome starts with the first step. You may have a big picture in your head where you'd like to be. And it's always important to have a big picture of where you'd like to be in the long term. But don't make that your goal. Your goal has to be small stuff. Today I am like this. Tomorrow I want to be a little bit better. By next month I want to be a little more better. By next year I want to be, incrementally better. When you take small steps, you don't shock yourself. You don't shock your mind. You don't shock your heart. You don't shock your body. You don't shock the system around you. You don't shock your support system around you. You don't shock anything. But incrementally, a lot of small steps equals a big step, right? Who said it? The astronaut, Neil Armstrong, when he went on the moon, he said one of the most powerful lines. A small step for man, because he was the first one who walked on the moon, but a large step for mankind. When we make small steps, each step is small, but cumulatively, it's powerful. You look back a few months and you say, wow, where was I just a few months ago? Look where I am today. I'm so much more ahead. I'm healthier. I'm happier. I'm more successful at what I'm doing. I'm a better parent. I'm a better child. I'm a better spouse. I'm a better person. I know more. Whatever it is that you're doing, incremental is the key. Small steps. And small steps, you don't have to exert unhuman or superhuman strength. You just have to stay determined, disciplined, and just move and just take those steps. And that's really what the key is. So when it comes new, we're all excited. It's a new year today. Everyone's hoping, and that 2021 is going to turn a page and it's going to make changes. It's 2021. Yes, the vaccine may work. It may work quicker, and other things may happen. But the real change that can ever happen will happen from each one of us on our own. And that is all in our hands. Because the minute we change, the world around us changes as well. When you become happier, all of a sudden you see a happier world. When we're miserable, the world can be jumping, but we'll still be miserable. And we think the world is miserable. Actually, we look at what's going on around us and we translate it as something miserable is happening against us or to us or whatever. It's all in our minds. It's all in our heads. It's all the way we see it. So, it starts a new year. It's a great time to say, okay, every day I hope to get the message I'm starting new. But at least in a bigger picture, new year, what are incremental steps I want to take to be able to make myself, better, to be able to grow, to move forward. Just like we see a baby, right? We have a little baby. How old is he?
It's 5 months.
5 months, right? Every day, now I don't see my children, I see my little grandchildren going, every day it's like, wow. Like you see something new, they've done something new. It's like every day you see growth. When you're a baby, you see growth. By adults, by the time we become adult, well?
Oh, sorry, it was him.
That's fine. Honestly, babies are the biggest inspiration. That's why everyone loves babies. But adults, we don't see growth anymore. We look at someone, we think they're going to be the same in 30 years from now. But it's not true. Every day grow a little bit like a baby. We're not going to grow physically. It's going to happen inside of us, who we are as a person, how we think, how we feel, what we do and how we do, what we believe, what we committed to, what our values are. Every day we have to grow like a baby. Initiates the physical growth, then it starts becoming more internal growth that has to happen. So when it comes to New Year, that's the best way to use it, is to say incremental. What's little stuff I'm gonna do that I'm actually gonna keep, because it's small enough that I don't have to climb Mount Everest to get there. I can, I can do something, but that's enough. And that's the real way of making new, work, and making new meaningful and helping us. Claudia, you said you were looking for new. What else were you?
What did I say? I said I was looking for new.
Yeah, I thought you said at the beginning. It's a new year. You want to tap into the new. So what other?
No, that wasn't that. That wasn't me.
Okay. So I don't know. I thought it was you. But that is.
No, but it really, everything you just said, it resonates, and it's such a great way to look at the fresh start of a new year. Little steps, always be positive. I mean, I think I've always looked at life that way. Just never huge goals, just one step at a time.
Yeah.
100%. So I want to share something interesting.
And also the whole thing on perception, right? When you're not happy, you're perceiving the world one way. When you're happier inside, then the same thing is even in a completely different way, right? Like
100%.
Like the glass half full or half empty.
Yeah. When you don't see the world in a good way. There's a story told. There was a couple living in some place, and they had neighbors that moved in. And this neighbor used to wash their laundry. They used to hang it out to dry. So the wife tells her husband, the one who's been living there for many years, says, "What kind of neighbors we have? She doesn't even know how to wash her laundry. Look, it's dirty. She hangs up dirty laundry outside." And the husband doesn't pay attention. Anyways, every day the wife is complaining, "Look at the dirty laundry. When is she going to learn how to?" So one day the husband decides he's sick and tired of hearing his wife every day complaining. So he goes to the window to look. And he notices that the window was dirty. He washes the window. Anyways, the next morning his wife comes down. And the wife looks and says, "Wow, she finally learned how to make clean the laundry properly."
Good story.
Husband said it was your window that was dirty, not her laundry. So, in life, whenever we see negative, very often we have to look at what's going on in our life, not necessarily what's going on in the other person's life. But I want to tell you something. Well,
no, I'm saying that like sometimes you have to get to that place too, where you're like in a low in order to like be able to make that change. So like, it takes you sometimes to get there in order to see the other way. So at times it could also be helpful though, to be in that place of like, I know like my life, there's a lot of times where I've had to come to that low and see, like, look around me and like, see how I'm feeling in order for me to like rise above and get to a better place.
You're very lucky because you have a good frame of mind. A lot of people, the lower they get, they don't know how to extricate themselves and to see it. I'll tell you something interesting. What you're saying is very fascinating. So January 1st is really not a real day. The sun has the fact that the sun cycles 365 days, but when does it start? When does it end? There's no start and end to when the sun cycle starts. So the fact that they chose January 1st, that's what's called Gregorian calendar, because the Russians have a different calendar that they look at, they look from a different date. So it's just a chosen date that was done and years ago, and the Romans, and it is what it became. Actually, the Jewish calendar, we run our calendar based on the moon also. So we run a calendar not just based on the sun, and we look at the cycle, and we're going to choose a day when it starts. We run our calendar based on the moon. That's why in Judaism the months play a big role, because a month is based on the lunar cycle. So the moon cycle, the lunar cycle, from when it's sort of born, that we're able to start seeing it until it disappears. So waxes and wanes is about 29 and a half days. So a Jewish month is either 29 or 30 days. And we run our calendar on the months, but also connected to the sun. That's why every few years we have an extra month. So the holidays always stay roughly in the same season. Why do we run it? Why do we go after the moon? What's the significance of the sun? And the moon is just two bodies in heaven, but what do they really mean to us? And what is so the truth is that the moon and the sun are very different, and they have some very important differences that are very meaningful to us. The sun is a constant. Even in a cold day, the sun could be shining beautifully. Actually, I think the UV rays sometimes in the winters is stronger than the sun. The sun is very, very powerful. And it's constant. You see it all the time. Every day it rises. Yeah, the cloudy day, you're not going to see sun. But on a sunny day, winter, summer, the sun is there. It's constantly there. It never changes. The only reason why it's winter or summer is the angle of Earth against the sun, but there's no real. The moon is just the opposite. The moon is constantly changing. The moon is at its fullest in the middle of the month, and then it starts getting smaller and smaller and smaller until it disappears. Then there's a rebirth, and it gets bigger, bigger, bigger until it becomes full, complete, it's beautiful. And actually, the many forces in nature and gravity that are affected by the moon, the fuller the moon gets, waves and other things, there's a lot of stuff that happens. And then it becomes smaller again. So in life, there are two things going on in our lives all the time. We all have sun elements. There has to be in our lives certain things like the sun that are constant. There has to be certain values, foundations, morals, certain things in our life have to be a constant, that they don't change. So for us, when we look at in Judaism, we talk about that the Torah that was given to us 3,300 years ago is unchanged till today. We don't really take this book or God's revelation to us and his message to us and change it with time. It's unchanging. The same 613 commandments that existed then exist today. The same seven Noahide laws that existed for humanity exist today. There's certain things that are unchanging. Just like the 2 + 2 = 4 is unchanging. There's unchanging things that happen in our life, not just on a technical level. It's music is unchanging, the notes of music, the morals, values, certain things never really change. They stay the same. In our life, we need a certain stability of things that don't change. We're anchored in the past, in the present, and the future in the same way. But then our life is like the moon. We have ups and downs. We have times, like you said, that we feel low, that we feel down, that we feel negative, that we feel like the world is just not our friend and is not nice to us and kind to us and is not. And then there are times we're in a full moon when things feel like they're perfect, everything is in the right place. And then there are times when we feel rebirth, we feel like things are going in a good direction. So we're all going to go through that. We're human beings. We're all going to have moments where we feel we're growing, moments we feel we're on top of the world, and then the moments that we feel we're sliding backwards, that we're just, things are not going the right way. But you always have to remember that even though the moon is becoming smaller, it's going to have a rebirth. It's part of the cycle of life. That's what makes life interesting. If we were just monotonous sun people all the time, we would never grow, we would never move forward, we'd just be what we were. You know, the animal kingdom, they don't change. An animal born very quickly takes on all of the nature of that animal. They don't really change. However long they live, they're not really changing much. They're the same being. A human being has that ability to change, to slide backwards or to move forward. Whatever we're born, hopefully at the end of our life, we're a different person. yes, we may have the same nature, but we have developed our nature. We've maybe overcome and maybe expanded our nature and natural abilities. We've even opened up new horizons for ourselves. We become better, smarter, more refined. That's our life. And because we're moon people, we can do that. Because we have ups and downs, that's what allows us to eventually grow. Because we can go down, we can go up. So our life, so our life reflects really the moon. So when we're going down, don't think it's the end of the world. It could change. It's part of what life happens and is going to happen. Yeah.
Is it possible sometimes when I feel that, let's say I'm going down, or I feel my mood is I'm very emotional, I look for the constant in me, because there's that part that I feel is constant a bit. And I don't know if it's a security blanket, because then I feel like, okay, all this is happening, but it's not really who I am. And it helps. Now, is that a bad way to deal with the emotion?
Not at all. Actually, you need the sun, that constant, but not to escape back into the little world of what you know already, but to give you the encouragement and the courage and to be brave, to face the new and the unknown, and the darkness you haven't seen yet, or the possibilities that no one has ever really explored yet. So the constant is what you sort of anchors you, but you have to be like a moon to be able to go beyond, to go into the unknown, to try what you can't just say, I'm only going to do what I feel comfortable doing, what I know the results will be. Because the world, imagine if we did that, we wouldn't have a vaccine coming out today.
I know.
To try to help that. And we wouldn't have anything we have today, all the major innovations, and humanity wouldn't be where we are today, so much greater and better than we were years ago. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I was told recently, back on like, not really perception, but when something goes wrong, like I'm more of the type of saying, okay, looking at it in a positive way and moving forward. But I was told recently that, and I wanted to get your opinion, that that's not a good thing necessarily, because you should actually feel the pain of what you're going through, instead of trying to cover it up with like, okay, no, what's the solution? Let me move forward. So I just want your perspective.
You said it right. You're 100% right, by the way. Pain is not something we try to make away as if it's not real. I don't know if I told you, last week in the Torah, we read a fascinating story. Joseph and Benjamin, two brothers that hadn't seen each other for 22 years. Benjamin was a little kid when Joseph was sold by his brothers into slavery. And when they embraced each other, so the Torah tells us that they cried on each other's shoulders. But the way the Torah tells it is that Joseph sort of cried on the shoulders of Benjamin, while Benjamin cried on the shoulder, singular, of Joseph.
Yeah.
So the commentators explain, what does it mean? Well, why the different, they were two people, each one cried on the other one's shoulder. Why shoulders, shoulder? And it explains something very fascinating. They were not crying just about, emotional, because they didn't see each other for many years. There was a lot more going on. Joseph and Benjamin were the fathers of two great tribes of the Jewish people. They were already looking into the future. And they both saw that in the future, in the part of Israel that will be given to them, the part of Israel given to Joseph, there will be a temple that will stand. Joseph was in part of the West Bank, what we call today the West Bank, in a city called Shiloh. And for 369 years, the temple stood there. And it was destroyed. Then in the part of Israel that was given to Benjamin, which is Jerusalem, stood two temples that were destroyed. So Joseph was crying on Benjamin's shoulder over the temples, the two temples that were destroyed in Benjamin's part. And Benjamin cried over Joseph's shoulder over the temple that will be destroyed in his part of Israel. So the question is, why are Joseph and Benjamin busy crying over the other one's destruction? Why aren't they crying over their destruction? And here we see something very fascinating. Did I tell you guys about the right eye and the left eye? I think we spoke about that last. No?
No.
Okay. So I'll tell you fascinating.
Yeah.
There was someone who asked his father, a kid asked his father, the great rabbi, a great Rebbe. So he says, I don't understand. A person has one mouth, a person has one eye. I mean, one nose, a person has two eyes. They're all in the front of your face. Why don't we have one eye? Why the need for two eyes? 2 ears, we understand. You have to hear on the sides of you. But if it's all in the front of your face, why do we need two? Why not one? And he said like this, in generally in Kabbalah it talks about how the right, and we spoke about it, is kindness and generous. The left is more discipline and strength. So his father said like this, we have a right eye and a left eye. Because there are times when we have to look with our right eye, and there are times we have to look with our left eye. When you look at other people, you have to always look with the right eye, meaning always be generous, give the benefit of the doubt. So when you see someone else did something, even they did something wrong, don't right away judge them and say, they're bad, they're terrible, they're despicable, and give them the benefit of the doubt. Maybe a situation happened, maybe something's going on in their lives, maybe they made a mistake, whatever. Give them the benefit of the doubt. Always judge others with the right eye, generously. But yourself, when you're looking at yourself introspectively, look with the left eye, meaning be much more judgmental of yourself. Because at the end of the day, the only one who's going to make you better is yourself. So if you always look at yourself generously and give yourself the benefit of the doubt, you'll never fix anything in your life, the things that need to be fixed. So scrutinize, in your life, scrutinize what's going on, why you behaved in this way. Maybe you did something wrong because you just don't care, or you don't know, or you have a bad character that needs to be shaped up. Always with yourself, be much more. So we see here like this, that number one, Joseph and Benjamin couldn't cry over their own temples being destroyed. Because when you look at your own life, you have to be pushed into action rather than crying. So you have to recognize what you're going through and look into action. What can I do to fix? But they cried over each other's temples being destroyed, because when you look at someone else, you got to feel the pain. You got to be empathize. So we don't ever advocate that pain is not real, that sadness is not real, that loss is not real, tragedy is not real. We advocate that it is real. And at a certain level, you have to cry. You have to learn to cry. You have to learn to, especially when it's someone else's pain, you have to just feel, empathize. Don't judge. Don't even give solutions. When someone is crying or going through a hard time, in Jewish law, when you go to visit someone after, when they're mourning, you don't walk in and start talking as if they didn't have a loss. You go in to visit and you're quiet. Let them talk first. You're not there to smooth out their pain. You're there to just be with them when they're in pain. So we have to recognize that when someone sees in someone else, for sure, there's no question, even in yourself, digest what you're going through. Understand, feel what you're going through. But don't create self-pity and start excusing yourself. That's the step you shouldn't do for yourself. After you feel what you're going through, now you say, so what do I have to do about it? I'm the only one who can change my life. I'm the only one who can make it. What am I going to do about it? So now I have to introspect, where can I fix, where it needs fixing? So you can never run away from the real things that are going on in our lives. That's pain, that's real. So the pain that comes from, a mistake that you made, or something you did wrong, or something that was wrong to you, or something. Feel pain, it's fine. But when it's your stuff going on, don't stop at feeling the pain and self-pity and create that whole misery. And now step two is, so how am I going to fix it? Someone else, never fix someone else's problems. You can be there to help, give them strength for them to fix their problems, encourage them that they can do it on their own, but you cannot fix their problem. Just be there to be there for them. And to be a shoulder to cry on, etc. So yes, when we have the ups and downs like the moon, recognize what's going on, but never turn it into misery and self-pity, because it gets you nowhere and it's counterproductive. So we got to all have moons and suns in our life to be able to allow us to get to where we need to get to.
Yeah.
So we all hope, obviously, we have a good beginning, like this Shabbat, chazak, strength, and God willing, it'll be a great year this year. And honestly, for myself, I just put out an email. I saw even around me. Forget about my way I look at it, but we saw so much good things this year that for years I haven't seen. The way people have come out, to care about others, to help others, wanting to do more. People who have taken a chance to look a little more into their lives to try to bring more meaning. People have looked at this time to grow. Been a lot of great things, but especially in community, how people have really stepped up to want to be there for others. So, sometimes in the darkest hours, we see the greatest light. That's why when the moon is waning, is becoming small, it's just the beginning of the rebirth. But it all has to be in our heads. We have to approach it that way, or else all you'll see is the darkness and nothing behind it.
So interesting. It's true.
Beautiful, beautiful. So we should all have only good.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Shalom.
Thank you so much.
So much.
Oh, it was
Yeah.
so good. Thank you.
Should
It
be
was so
a
good.
great-
Yes.
Should be the best year yet for us. Great.
Thank you.
Thank
Be
you.
well.
Yes.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Yeah.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
New Year.
Bye.
New Year.
Yeah.